Hello, this is Patrick, and today I'm going to demo the pokerplayernotes.com, which is a PHP website that I built. It has an SQL database and a lot of JavaScript. So the pokerplayernotes.com was kind of like a pet project for me to work on my programming when I was first getting started. So I built this quite a while ago now. But the idea came from, I had a lot of friends that were playing online poker who were kind of looking for a way to get more information about their opponents, kind of keep track of their sessions and manage their bankrolls and build profiles on their opponents so that they could, make better decisions. So that's kind of where the idea came from. So it has all the stuff that you would expect on a normal site: registration, contact us, frequently asked questions. Getting started is kind of a tutorial that takes you through a bunch of the site functionality, which I'm going to demo a lot of this now. So I'm not going to bother going through this area here, but so we're going to go ahead and go over to the login. Here we go, log in. All right, so once you log in, you're taken to the tutorial where you can see a list of the functionality for the site. So the idea is here, you sit down at online poker table and you see some players that you haven't seen before. And what you want to do is you want to create a player profile for them. So you click over here to add player. And that's going to take you to this screen where you can enter the player's name. We'll go ahead and make a test player. We'll just call it test123 for this guy. So there was two sites that the poker note-taking site was running for when I built this, Ultimate Poker and WSOP. So you're going to choose the site so you can keep your players separate by site, because each player name, each time someone logs in to play online poker, they have the same player name, and the idea is that you can kind of build a profile with a list of their tendencies, and then you can use that profile to make adjustments to the way they're playing to make better decisions. Okay, so a lot of different ways you can play poker, and that's what this is right here. So we're just going to stick with this one, and then there's different stakes that you can play, right? Okay, so I'm just going to pick a random one here. This relates to a style of play for a certain type of the hand, certain time in the hand when they're playing. So there's different styles. So this is really important for players to know this information. So we're just going to pick that one. And these icons over here all represent something different in the poker world. These things mean different things to them. So you got the wild gambler here, someone who's out to have a lot of fun, and you got the expert player as the shark, right? So we're going to make test123. We'll make him a shark, and we'll create this player. So there we go. We got a new player created, test123, with the information that we put in. We can go through and edit this if we wanted to, but we don't need to. We put it in right. So we're playing a couple hands with test123, and we're starting to get some information on him. So this tag information here is denotes a category of note. So if this note is going to be about how we caught test123 bluffing, then we can we can categorize it as that, and we can also pick out the cards if we end up seeing his cards. So let's say that he had a pretty bad hand, a jack and a two. So we're going to choose those two hands, and then we can pick out the cards that came out. So we'll say that there was all fours that came out, and then we can say made a big bluff, right? Since we already said that it was going to be a category of bluffing. And then we click add notes. There we go. So now we have our first notes on test123 right here. So we can see that our note is displayed right here, and as we continue to add more notes, it'll kind of make a list below it. So if we jump over to, let's just check someone else out, it's going to kind of look like this as we build it up. But for now, let's go back to test123. Okay, so down here, when we were creating a note, I forgot to mention we had the possibility to categorize it as a hand history. So that's like one that actually has cards involved in it, where we're telling a story about a hand we played, or a comment, which would be just like the general notes about maybe the certain player's style of play that isn't relevant to one type of hand. To allow players to be able to go through this stuff and find the information they're looking for quicker, I've categorized this up here. So comments would be displayed here, all notes here, and hand histories. Heads up refers to when there's two players at the table because players tend to play differently. So that's chosen here. If this was two players, then it would be available there. So with a note, one thing that's cool is they have the ability to do some inline editing. So you just click on the note right here and then say, whatever they want to do to update the note. And then we can see that, that's how it is now. So we go back, look, it's still there. All right. So you don't just usually play against one player, you play against a bunch of players. So I created this active players list so that they could bounce back and forth between different players quickly. So to get on this list, you just click activate, and let's put a few players on there. So we're gonna activate all three of these guys, and let's say that now I'm in a hand against this guy, and I want to quickly jump back here and see my notes on him, which I don't have any, but you kind of get the idea. And then to take that a step further, we have the ability to pop out a note. So to pop out a note, we're just going to click here, and it's going to bring this window up, and this is the notes for this specific player. So this is the add note screen, but you can kind of see I've duplicated a lot of the functionality that's right here, but it's in this smaller little panel so that we can go through and quickly get things. And we can stack a bunch of these up so we have them side by side. So we know that it's Bob's note. It's written right up here in the title bar. So that's a pretty cool functionality that the players that were using the site were really looking for, really appreciated. So they can kind of like arrange these however they want next to their tables or on different monitors or whatever works best for them. So I'm going to close this for now and go on to the next section of the site. Oh, just real quickly, this recently active section is the players that were last activated. Okay, so the idea is that if a player is playing that day, they're probably more likely to play again that day, so we'll put them on this list. So the idea was to try to make things as quick and easy as possible for these people so we can kind of jump through and grab these people. But okay, so that's how we take notes, and that's about adding players. Some other functionality that we have into the site are sessions. So it's going to keep track of each session that a player plays. And we have this divided into a few different ways here. So there's different styles of playing poker. You can play in tournaments, or you can just sit and play in a non-tournament format. And then there's a ton of functionality that we can add here, a ton of filtering. So we can say cash games, we can choose a stake. Let's say that we want to choose the stake of, let's say 25, 50 cents, and then we apply these filters, and it's just going to pull those sessions there. So there was 2 sessions that applied, and then it will calculate these stats based on that. So that's pretty self-explanatory. To record a new session, I go through here and use this jQuery UI picker to select, this different information: when your session started, when it ended, what your starting balance was, what your ending balance was, and then it automatically will calculate your profit and loss and adjust your bankroll for you. So the players list here is a list of all the different players. And we got them broken down a few different ways. The players that, here's all the players, here's the players that are most active. So pretty simple. For each time a player becomes active, we just add 1 to a column, and then we're listing them that way. And then we also have the little shortcuts up here to the people that are most active. If you need to find someone real quick or see if they're in the database, we have the autocomplete built in here. So as I type, it starts grabbing this, and then I can just click here and then jump right to the player's profile and see all the different notes that they have. So yeah, that's the deal with the players list. And then we have some settings here where you can kind of create different features that apply to your accounts. All right, so this is the end of the demo for the pokerplayernotes.com. I appreciate you taking the time to watch.